Alright, hi. This is my presentation on women and climate change. Overall, it just goes over how climate change predominantly affects women, and why women are important to climate change. And climate change is a predominant issue that we're especially noticing right now. So it's an important topic to talk. These graphs just go over how genders are affected, like each not each gender, but women and men are affected by certain things in graph format. And you can just see how women are mostly affected by these things, but in some cases, like infectious disease, men are more predominantly affected. Climate change affects health through many things, but climate change affects all genders through many things, like disease, again, disasters, pollution, contamination in water, which affects women a lot because they're largely responsible for getting it, especially in undeveloped countries. And then overall, people that work in agriculture and stuff that deals with natural resources are especially affected because not just by health, but economically. They might get paid less or lose their jobs. These statistics just show that women are more affected by climate change in general, and some of it includes why women are more affected. For example, poverty. But also some of the reasons I included these statistics is because they're kind of surprising, but they're also a bit upsetting, just because more women are more likely to die from disaster events. And then talk about these are small infographics that focus on certain countries like Asia, Pacific Islands, Australia, New Zealand, and Latin America. And they just go over certain events or reasons why women are affected or have been affected out of America, and just allow a little bit on how women are affected by climate change. Moving on, this goes on to why women are more affected, and mainly it ties into inequalities. And over 50% of women worldwide are in poverty or women, and that's so much, and I think that partially attributed to the gender pay gap, which is not great. And then tying into that, agriculture and natural resources are something that women rely on heavily for income, and because it's especially ever-changing right now because of disasters and then price changes because of climate change, it puts even more women into poverty. And women majorly handle agriculture, which uses land. They are excluded from decision-making in regards to that, and they don't even own the land most of the time. Going back to that, it just goes, but they don't have much access to it while having much more responsibility for it. It's crazy. It's the whole situation of why women are more affected by climate change. It just comes down to inequality overall. Then going into this, Indigenous people are important to fighting climate change, mainly because they hail handle biodiversity and understand the environment well, which means that they're important to protecting the environment. And they may have over 80% of biodiversity, like, within our lands, and they know how to protect them well and have been doing so. And unfortunately, they are much more affected by climate change as well. And then this is just an infographic about women more affected by climate change. 62 million girls aren't in school, and so that means women will be less literate and less access to resources in regards to disasters and climate change. Okay, and then this going to inequality overall, these are just some PowerPoints, but it comes down to being less handled, being less able to handle disasters because of information resources, being less able to get aid, and then getting affected afterwards, disasters by violence, and this gender pay gap, and then equality in everything ties over to inequality facing climate change. Women are essential to fighting climate change because they're significantly impacted. They're better able to handle it because of their knowledge. Again, with agriculture, handling water, and that's something that women have done for a long time, like indigenous people have done for their land. And then the good side of women fighting climate change is that it'll help close the gender pay gap and improve gender equality because they bring people in the fight. It'll bring improvement to other sectors of gender inequality. And then women have created important ideas and principles throughout the past and are increasingly doing so. And just women are better able to handle crises and disasters in general, just a lot of things. This is just a video that goes a little bit into depth about rural women, agricultural. Goes into how women are now fighting it, like We Can International, which is a group fighting climate change, leaded women. And there's other groups as well. That's just a well-known one. And then this is a quote, just goes into some detail about like a few instances how women are fighting climate change. And this is just which is mentioned in the last one a little bit. She's an important figure to fighting climate change. And just I thought this quote was important. I thought this quote was important because it's kind of empowering, and I just, in general, like, it shows, like, waiting isn't gonna stop climate change. Just doing little things out all the time build up to fighting climate change overall. So it would just, I think I feel like it encompasses like women in climate change, making sure women are included in it is just important overall. And just women need to be included because, like, if they're brought into it, and women need to be brought into the fight for climate change because not only do they understand it and have the skill sets to do so, like, focusing on how climate change affects women will help create a bigger change in fighting climate change. And because they are majorly affected means you have to have the right responses to how they will be. So, yeah. And then this is my works cited, and then my thanks slide for the template. Thank you.